Hi. Maybe you're a player who people tell you that you play a lot of outballs, or maybe you're a parent or a coach and you have players who do that. And it can be frustrating, but I think the first thing that we have to start with is that's preferable to making bad calls. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is it's a little aggravating because you know that your player could be winning a little bit easier. Um, and it's really easy, I think, also to kind of fall into this thought of that it's a 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds instant fix thing. But it isn't necessarily. It might take a process. There could be a time of learning to make better calls for yourself. So don't let yourself get ripped off. On the same token, be happy that your kid plays fair, that you play fair, and that you're giving your opponent all these tremendous opportunities to win the match. It's only going to make you a better player, actually. So, but here are a couple of things because I can relate to this. My wife used to watch me play, and she would be really frustrated that I was calling serves that were a foot to 2 feet out in. So, how do you learn how to do that? Well, the first step is to get to the baseline, and you can put a ball so that it's just barely out. But then you can have the player look at it and go, okay, is that in or out? And then they can see that a ball that actually looks like it's touching the line is actually out, right? So that's one thing you can do. You can also do that with balls at the baseline. That's probably a little bit easier to play, right? Now, maybe your player's vision needs to be checked. I had a funny thing happening where I was coaching and my juniors were playing, and I thought I saw a bad call, and then the players said, "No, I don't. That ball was out." And I was like, "No, I saw it the other way." And then they said, the opponent said, "No, no, no, it was out. I saw it clearly out." And I'm like, anyway. So later, I got glasses. So long story short, I got glasses, and then I was like, "Oh man, I was overdue for that," and so I wasn't seeing well. So how could I overrule my players? So anyway, that's an important thing. Keep this all in mind. We all see differently, but that's another important part of it too. Another big part is, do you get coaching from someone who takes making good calls seriously? So that's an important thing. So now what you can do is, if you're watching for someone, you could film the match, or you could chart the match. And as you're charting, then you can go, oh, at 30:15, there was a serve that was 2 feet out, and then you could put a little mark on a little diagram of where that was. And you can go back to the player later and you can go, hey, do you remember that? And then you can count up how many calls were like that. So, if there are 12, that's a lot in a match. 12 calls like that is a lot, right? So, maybe a good goal would be to, in the next match, cut it down to 6, right? Then, get better and better and affirm the player when they make the right call. Now, one thing I do with my high school players and my juniors too is that, I let them know, hey, I'm watching you. And if you feel like you might have made a bad call, you can look over at me after the point, and if I saw it, then I'll just give you a heads up or heads down, right? I'll give you a little affirmation, good call, right? Which is not to say that fans from the sideline should be saying, good call, good call, good call. I mean, because that's really annoying. So it should be a very, very subtle thing. But yeah, I mean, reassuring players that you'll let them know if they start making bad calls. Because this is part of the problem is you get some really nice kids and they don't want to cheat the opponent, so they're extra hard on themselves. That's the way it goes. So another thing you can do is you can teach players to look and see marks on the court. Now, you can't, by rule, use a mark on the court to overrule something, but you can start to understand whether the ball was in or out to train yourself. And, it leaves in a little mark on a hard court. The problem is you have to be careful to make sure you're looking at the right mark. That's an important thing. So, those are a couple things. Now, in a practice situation, a good thing that you can do is after a point is over, you can actually go and place a ball right at the spot where the ball landed, right? So a lot of times it's the serves, and that's because that's the fastest shot. It skids a lot depending on it. It's usually the fastest shot, and it skids a lot and all that. So, so those are some really interesting things to do, and a lot that can solve it. If you have other ideas, I would love to see those in the comments, and I might have to remake a video and get that out. But shout out here to Madeline, who was the one who inspired this video, and thank you for your honesty about all that. Now, go ahead and like and subscribe to the video, right? Like and the channel, and make your comment down below, and I will look at those and respond to you. And hopefully, if we get some good comments and some great ideas, I'll make another video to update this one, and we'll make it better and better with your help. Thank you.